over there, and the fish shop over there.
Well, the public hearing to order is time for it. Go ahead, Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is our first public hearing on the proposed 2017 budgets, both the capital fund and the operating fund. The mayor and the city council have had 3 budget review work sessions. We'll have another one on Monday, November 28th, as they're working on the budget for next year. But we did want an opportunity for public to give input tonight. There will be a second public hearing coming up on Monday, November the 28th at 6:30, so that the mayor and council can take into account comments made by the public as we put together the budgets for the fiscal year 2017 that starts January 1. We do have over on the little table copies of the draft budget as prepared by Finance Director Sarah Hefty, both the general fund and the water and sewer fund. Also, we have on the table agenda for this public hearing that we're about to have. And we will start tonight with our proposed budget on the 2017 capital budget. We are required by the city charter to have a capital budget. It will be a very abbreviated capital budget at this time. The mayor and council have asked our city attorney to provide some legal guidance to them concerning the expenditure of the 2015 SPLOSH funds as it relates to the wording, not only on the referendum or the ballot, but also on our agreement with Carroll County. We do expect early in the calendar year 2017 that we will be adopting amendments to the capital fund budget. The mayor and council did receive from staff requests for a number of new construction projects. Those will be looked at by the mayor and council early on in calendar 2017 after we have gotten the report back from the city attorney in terms of the flexibility that we have both for ongoing construction projects as well as debt retirement payments of water and sewer. My report to you tonight on the capital fund budget will be very brief. It consists of only one project, $48,750 for street resurfacing. Of this amount, $37,500 is expected to come in a grant from the Georgia Department of Transportation. $11,250 would be required local matching dollars, and that would come from our general fund. The mayor and council will decide which street or streets would be resurfaced and improved under this particular project. Do we have any questions or comments tonight concerning the 2017 proposed capital budget? No. Okay. We will now move to the proposed 2017 operating budget. Over the next little while, Finance Director Sarah Hefty and I will make some reports to you, and then we will start. Ms. Hefty will talk about anticipated revenues with the 2017 general fund, and then proposed expenditures overall with the general fund operating budget. And that, again, we do have copies of the budget on the table, and I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Hefty.
All right. On our all-fund summary for 2017, we do show the total citywide budget of being $5.4 million in revenue and $5.7 million in expenditures. Major funds are general fund and the enterprise fund. General fund, we're showing a total revenue of $2.7 million, total expenditures of $2.7 million. So we're proposing a balanced budget with the total increase in revenue being Actually, a decrease of 19%, and again, expenditures decreasing 19%. Biggest portion of that, again, is the change that we'll see later for the 2016 budget. We have increased the interfund transfers from the water sewer fund to pay towards the general fund because, as we've mentioned all along, if our enterprise fund was a standalone Georgia Power or something like that, they would pay for the finance department and their IT support and their attorney fees and things, so they do pay a portion of that. Next is our debt service fund. Our debt service in 2017 is expected to be $622,000 and some change. And again, as he just mentioned, the only capital project we have are the street improvements with the LMAID grant. We have to match 30% of that, so the only city portion of those funds would be $11,000. And then our water sewer fund, we did increase revenue by 13%, showing a total of almost $2 million. But our expenditures exceed our revenues by $331,000. However, we did present the budget in a way that would allow us to be compliant with our bond. So, without even getting into too much detail, that's kind of overall summary.
I do have a question. It's just I had open record requested some of this back in August, and then I got some more, I think last month maybe, and some of the numbers were different in like 13, 14, 15. Do they just change because things change, or are things that, like the numbers in 2013 and 14, shouldn't they have stayed the same?
Yes, and I don't, you said you got it in August.
I did, and it would have been,
in August.
well, I got it in August, and it was like for 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. But those, the 13 and 14's numbers were different in that one than the one I got in October. So I just wondered, I don't have them with me, so I can't show you.
Yeah, the one that you saw from, I guess, in August wasn't updated. It would have been done when I worked on the budget last fall, which unfortunately the 2014 audit wasn't done, 2015 audit wasn't done. So I don't know why 13 changed, except for maybe I double checked the numbers. But so the numbers you were looking at were still based on preliminary numbers because we didn't finish the 2014 audit until just earlier this year. So that's what I would say. It was probably based on preliminary numbers. But now the 14 audit done, the 15 audit is done, and then the 16 audit should be done on time. So.
Okay. Okay. I wish I would have bring up thing I did have questions, but it's all right.
Is that into the other questions?
No, I can't think of one.
I think what we would do, Ms. Hefty, obviously with the size of the group and who we have here, we don't need to do in detail, but if you could just identify key points for the record in terms of the departmental budget request for this next year.
Some of the bigger things, we split out the governing body from administration so that we could have some more transparency with that. We split out the court from the PD, again, just for more transparency there. So the governing body does show an increase of 32%, but that's with splitting out from the other departments. So it'll take a few years till we have a true comparison of that standalone department. Administration, one of the more significant items is we have the entire year's worth of the finance and code enforcement agreement with Villarica. So that was substantial, almost $75,000. That's what made the administration department grow. We've also budgeted for pay parity for police officers and We budgeted a 4% increase, and it'll be up to the council how much of that is pay parity, cost of living adjustment and merit-based increases. We've added money for salary survey, a portion for a few $1,000s for a salary survey, but even bigger, zoning and land use map updates. We need those to be updated. That's in the administrative department. Those are the big ones there. In police, you may have heard the chief talking, wanting to replace the duty weapons and taser guns. So we have that budgeted at a $20,000 increase from this current year. Again, court was split out, so that would be your legal fees and court costs, those sort of things. Judge fees, that's been split out from the police department. In public works, we actually decreased overall, but we did add some money for some tree cutting so that we can stay compliant there. Senior center only increased 1%, stayed consistent from 2016. Recreation actually decreased overall, just based on current year projections. The way it was presented was to freeze one of the positions in their personnel and actually use that to pay a contractor for grass cutting and things, but we're actually not going to, it doesn't seem like we're going to head that way. So that'll actually be put back where we have a position and less of this grounds maintenance money.
There was a question there. In the rec department, I did notice, like, for concessions, when the expenditures for concessions was like $6,000, but the revenues for concessions should be like triple that, right? And it's the same, or like not even $1,000 more, which was amazing to me because it should be, you know, you should make a profit more than that. You know, I was amazed that the expenditures versus what they got, and it might have been that the year wasn't over when I looked at that. It just tripped me out that they didn't get as much revenue as they I thought they should have. You know, you buy a pack of hot dogs, that you should have made a lot more money.
And it seems, yeah, I think maybe what you received in August was from last year's budget because.
Well, this was in October that I looked at it, and it was you know, and that might have been for September, and I got it in October, and it was done, you know, at the end of September or something. But it was like the expenditures year to date was $6,000, and the revenue year to date was $6,079 or something like that. And it seemed kind of crazy that they would have made any money, you know, versus what they had put out.
I can look at what this year was, but as of the end of 2015, and again, that audit was done this summer, which would have given us our final numbers. The revenue they brought in for concessions in 2015 was $13,855, and their expense in 2015 was almost $7,000. So they did show a profit there. Yeah. But you're right, for 2017, we didn't budget much margin there, so that might be something to consider. Any other questions on that?
No, it was just an observation. It just didn't make any sense.
Okay.
Ms. Hefty, you want to cover water and sewer?
Sure. Okay. So on the water sewer side, trying to get in compliance with our bond, we presented the budget in a way which seems very significant, but trying to show what it would take to get us in compliance. So I did show a revenue increase of 13%. And again, that'll be up to the council to decide what they want to do. That's what I'm showing. Just trying to give a real picture on what it takes to get us in compliance. The garbage expense didn't change much, just went up $11,000 based on projections. Sewer went up almost 50%, but I don't know if you've heard that conversation, but the depreciation hadn't been budgeted in the prior year, and that's almost $300,000, half in sewer, half in water. And so that's why that budget looks like it increased significantly. There's $175,000 for depreciation. Same thing on water, $175,000 there for depreciation, but overall that department decreased. We moved an employee, the that's budgeted there, back to the general fund, because again, trying to be consistent, because we do have the water sewer fund, pay back the general funds for some of those overhead type costs. And then our debt service, we have, this year it'll be $622,000 for debt service. And then we have an allocation to the general fund. But that, the way we presented it, will actually bring us up to the debt service coverage we're supposed to have and certify for our bondholder.
I did hear you when y'all were talking at the last meeting, and you had said that, you know, they're going to have to raise the water and sewer rate. And when I looked at the budget, and those rates are good, when you project that, is it like that's in the budget already, projected at the beginning of the year? Like they're going to have to do that pretty soon?
That's the way I've presented it. Again, it'll be up to council.
Right.
And it sounds like we need to go back and audit where since we did have the increase this year already, it sounds like we need to go back and audit that and bring that to them so they can see what that has done for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we will do that. But yes, you're right. The way it's projected, if they did an increase, it would be budgeted for the whole year, so it would have to happen
So
like that.
yeah, okay. All right. Thank you.
The closing part of this public hearing is opportunity for any of the elected officials, any comments that you might want to make at the public hearing. So, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, if you have any comments to make before we adjourn.
I just thank everybody for coming.
You're welcome.
No comment.
None for me either, sir. Been a long evening already.
So, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, that concludes this public hearing. And I'm sorry that I've miscalculated in terms of the time we would need for the public.
It's always having fun. According to my clock, it's time to go.
Okay, Bradford says it is 6:30. We call this special call meeting to the order for the purposes listed above. First reader of proposed ordinance to adopt an amendment to the City of Temple's 2016 fiscal year budget. Mr. Ross.
Yes, sir. If you will go to your first attachment, and I will read this. To adopt an amendment to the general fund operating budget for the City of Temple, Georgia for 2016 fiscal year. Whereas the general fund budget for the City of Temple, Georgia for the 2016 fiscal year was duly adopted by the mayor and council of the City of Temple, Georgia at a properly noticed public hearing on December 7th, 2015. Whereas it there appears that the budget for the 2016 fiscal year needs to be amended so as to adapt to the changing governmental needs of the city which have arisen since the adoption of the 2016 budget. And whereas the mayor and city council of the City of Temple, Georgia, in the exercise of sound judgment and discretion, after giving thorough thought to all the implications involved, and having determined it to be in the public interest and welfare of the citizens of the City of Temple, Georgia, that this ordinance be adopted. It is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the City of Temple that the proposed amendments to the general fund budget for the City of Temple, Georgia for the 2016 fiscal year attached to this ordinance in its entirety as Exhibit A and is presented at the meeting of the City Council, being is hereby adopted as an amendment to the 2016 budget for the City of Temple, Georgia, as previously adopted in accordance with the City of Temple, Georgia's charter and Georgia law. Said amendments to the budget shall be included as part of the minutes of the meeting of the City Council and thereby become part of the recording of that meeting. Section 1. City Clerk of Temple, Georgia is hereby instructed to incorporate this ordinance and the attached Exhibit A into the minutes of the meeting in which this ordinance is adopted. Section 2. It is hereby declared to be the intention of the City Council that all sections, paragraphs, sentences, clauses, and phrases of this ordinance are and were upon that act believed by the City Council to be fully valid, enforceable, and constitutional. Be it is hereby declared to be the intention of the city council that to the greatest extent allowed by law, each and every section, paragraph, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is severable from every other section, paragraph, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance. It is hereby further declared to be the intention of the city council that to the greatest extent allowed by law, no section, paragraph, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is mutually dependent upon any further section, paragraph, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance. C, in the event that any section, paragraph, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance shall, for any reason whatsoever, be declared invalid, unconstitutional, otherwise unenforceable by the valid judgment or decree of any court of competent jurisdiction, it is expressed intent of the city council that such unenforceability shall, to the greatest extent allowed by law, not render invalid, unconstitutional, otherwise unenforceable any of the remaining sections, paragraphs, sentences, clauses, or phrases of the ordinance, and that to the greatest extent allowed by law, all remaining sections, paragraph, sentences, clauses, or phrases of the ordinance shall remain valid, constitutional, enforceable, and of full force and effect. Section 3, repeal conflict provision except as otherwise provided herein. All ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, effective date, this ordinance shall become effective 10 days after its adoption by the mayor and city council of the city of Temple, Georgia. So in this blank day of blank 2016. It will be signed by Lester Harlan, mayor, and attested to by the city clerk. This is the first reading, shows the second reading and adoption, and that will be on November 28th.
Okay, item number 2, first reading of proposed ordinance to adopt amendment to the city of Temple fiscal year 2016 fiscal year water and sewer budget.
Mr. Mayor, in accordance with opinion of our city attorney, would point out that this amendment is identical to the one that I just read on the general fund, except in the heading, it says to adopt an amendment to the water and sewer funds operating budget of the city of Temple, Georgia for the 2016 fiscal year. And then you will see in the first whereas, it says water and sewer fund. And then it also, after it is ordained, it says that the proposed amendments to the water and the sewer fund. That completes then the first reading, and Finance Director Ms. Hefty is prepared to make a brief report to you and the council as to what these amendments are.
Well, as we discussed last week, the general fund, we are trying to, the biggest items are removing the SPLOST out of the general fund. We're not supposed to show SPLOST in the general fund, so we're taking that revenue shown there and removing the projects as well. And the other big one was the library. We had budgeted, I think, $325,000 in this year, but it's not needed in the current year, so I'm taking that out as well. But there is, at the top under the revenue, you see $102,033 needed to balance the budget. As I mentioned last time, it seems like SPLOST was used. There was more SPLOST revenue budgeted in the general fund than there was SPLOST projects, so it seems like some of that was going towards operations. And we can't have SPLOST used for operations, so that's where that $102,000 will have to come out of the reserve in order to balance the general fund budget for 2016. On the water sewer side, same thing, removing the SPLOST projects there. We do have water and sewer coming in a little bit higher than budgeted, so I did allow for that. And as I mentioned earlier in the evening, the depreciation was not included, so I've budgeted for that. And I've also corrected the interest and principal portion there. So we do need to use a little bit of the fund balance for that as well, $71,000. But when the budget was passed for 2016, the revenue was higher than expenditure. So that note at the bottom, the negative 188,000, basically, in order to show a balanced budget, I'm proposing to amend higher expenditures and revenues, and then we'll come out with a net zero, a balanced budget. Sorry.
Thank you. Item number 3, conduct a public hearing on the annexation and rezoning of approximately 32.33 acres on East Loop Road, being in tax parcel 1.5049 and land use of the property in unincorporated Carroll County being agricultural. The proposed use of the city temple being industrial with said property currently zoned manufactured homes and in unincorporated Carroll County, and the purpose to be rezoned light industrial, city of Temple, application by the Development Authority of Carroll County. Mr. Phillips.
We offered the mayor's description of the property. It's an annexation and rezoning concerning 32.33 acres on East Loop Road according to the tax assessor records. It's designated as tax parcel 1.50498. And upon annexation, it will be rezoned to light industrial. Is anyone here to speak for that annexation and rezoning?
Andrew Jackson, I'm with the law firm of Tyson Vance in Carrollton, Georgia, and I represent the Carroll County Development Authority, the applicant seeking to have the property annexed and rezoned. The property is 32.33 acres. It's on the south side of East Loop Road. If you know where East Loop Road is, it's, if you're going Highway 113 south, it's the first road on the left past the I-20 interchange. It's where the City of Temple Industrial Park is located. Moore's Furniture is right on that corner. When you take the left on East Loop Road, you'd see businesses like Janus International, Royal Metal Products, and then Magna on the north side of East Loop Road. And this property is currently in unincorporated Carroll County. It's currently undeveloped land, and it's adjacent to East Loop Road on the south. It's currently zoned as a mobile home subdivision in unincorporated Carroll County. But the Development Authority has found this property and found that it would be suitable for businesses, and would like to use it to attract businesses to come to this area. As you may know, the Development Authority's job is to seek out these types of properties that would be useful to industry and businesses, and use that to entice them to either relocate to Carroll County or expand in Carroll County to increase the jobs available to the citizens in Carroll County. In fact, these three businesses on the north side of East Loop Road, the Carroll County Development Authority acquired those properties prior to those businesses being located there, and that was in unincorporated Carroll County. The Development Authority came before the mayor and council at that time, asked that those properties be annexed and rezoned industrial and be annexed into the city of Temple. The mayor and council at that time approved the application, and the Development Authority developed those lots, graded them, made them attractive to industries, went out with the assistance of the Chamber of Commerce, and Carroll Tomorrow was able to attract those businesses here. If you haven't been down that road recently, if you drive by there, those businesses are thriving. Janus International has 200 cars in its lot during the day shift. It has 50 to 75 cars in its parking lot during the night shift. Those are good jobs for the citizens of Carroll County and the citizens of the city of Temple. The Development Authority would like to do that same project with this parcel on the south side of East Loop Road, have it annexed and rezoned, and then market that to other industries to expand the City of Temple Industrial Park. The authority currently has this property under contract. The authority is simultaneously with seeking annexation and rezoning is seeking financing. Part of that financing can come from various sources, but one of them would be Carroll County, and there's lots of funds for economic development, and they're currently seeking that funding as well. So if you find their application favorable, they would ask that when you make the motion, and I've spoken with the city attorney about this, and I understand this, it won't be voted on today, it will be voted on at the next meeting, but what the authority would ask would be, you make the motion and the motion for the annexation and rezoning contingent upon the Development Authority actually closing on the property. That way, the authority can go out and hopefully obtain this financing, but if it is unable to, then all the parties are protected and the property hasn't changed. If you have any questions about the project or the property, please let me know.
Mr. Roberts?
My question, I guess, just because I'm curious, why does it need to be annexed into, I mean, what is the benefit to the city of Temple? Why does it need to be annexed?
It does not have to be annexed into the city of Temple. The development authority to do the project in Carroll County, they could get the county to change the zoning and do it. They would still need to tap into the city sewer. They could use the county water. All the utilities are already located at the site because of the other industry there. But the development authority feels that it would be beneficial to the city to add to the city's tax base. You're looking at a significant industry, and the county still gets the tax revenues from the property, whether it's in the city or the county. But to assist the city,
I just wondered why it needed to be. I mean, I'm happy to see it, but I just was curious.
Yeah, that's the reason why is that
Something that the chamber doing for us.
they would like to, just like they did with other properties, they feel like it benefits both the county and the city, and it benefits Carroll County as a whole more to have the property located in the city.
See, if it's developed, approved and developed, Temple would receive money from the sewage and water and get taxes from the property that is annexed into the city.
That's correct.
Part of that's correct. Well, it's Carroll County water. The rest of that is correct.
Oh, that's right, that's, okay. Well, I think it's a good idea, A big benefit too, Todd, they would have city police protection there, as opposed to if they had a problem waiting for the county to get it.
For them, part of their incentive, I guess.
That helps them, it does help them attract the industries there because the industries then have the benefit of the services that the city can provide rather than the services that the county provides.
Years ago, Todd, whenever this park was developed down there, the Carroll County Industrial Community went, instead of having these developments in Carrollton down there, Billerica has one, we have one, I think Bowden may have one. But, they came up here and asked us if we would annex that into the property. They would in turn, that was when we were building the sewer plant, Mr. Simmons, you remember all of that we were sitting up here with not any sewer available under a mandate from the state of Georgia about our DEUs or whatever BEDs, it was too high. Had to build this plant. The industrial authority came and they said, we will buy this property down there and turn it into an industrial park if the city of Temple will assure us that we will have a sewer plant down there. In turn, we will bore under I-20 and connect to your sewer line at our expense. So they have put that in, they have developed all of that property down there, graded, fixed it and all we do is furnish them sewer, which they pay for, and then we receive the benefits of this. And the reason to have this in Temple from their incentive was our sewer system, because if it was outside of the city limits, they wouldn't have sewer. And so this is what made this marriage for this whole park down there work as well as it is.
Anybody else? Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak for the annexation and rezoning? Is anyone here to speak against the annexation and rezoning? Hearing none, the public hearing will stand closed.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Item number 4, first read of proposed ordinance to annex into the city of Temple on approximately 32.3 acres on East Loop Road.
And just by way of information, the rezoning and the annexation are all in the same ordinance, so it's together. I don't know whether that will be read or read on.
How bad is it?
Right. An ordinance by the City Council of the City of Temple. Whereas Ramona T. Johnson individually and as co-trustee of the William T. Johnson Credit Shelter Trust and Alton T. Johnson, co-trustee of the William T. Johnson Credit Shelter Trust, have applied for the annexation of certain contiguous property to the corporate limits of the City of Temple. Whereas the subject property is designated as tax map and parcel number 1250498, consisting of 32.33 acres. Whereas the city held public hearings before the Planning Commission on November 14, 2016, and before the City Council on November 17, 2016, both pursuant to notice. Whereas the city published and posted notices of the annexation and rezoning request pursuant to Georgia law. Whereas the city has the authority to annex contiguous properties into its corporate limits pursuant to OCGA Section 36-1-C and related principles of Georgia law. Now therefore be it ordained, and it is hereby ordained and established as follows. Section 1. Property owned by Ramona T. Johnson individually and as co-trustee of the William P. Johnson Credit Shelter Trust and Alton P. Johnson, co-trustee of the William P. Johnson Credit Shelter Trust, designated as tax map and parcel number 1250498, consisting of approximately 32.33 acres, and more particularly described in Exhibit A, is hereby annexed into the City of Temple, made a part of said city. Said property shall be zoned in an IL light industrial classification. Section 2. The corporate boundaries of the City of Temple shall stand amended by adding this new annexed tract or parcel of property to be designated as territory blank, which territory shall be appropriately numbered in the discretion of the city clerk or the codifier. Section 3. A copy of this ordinance shall be forwarded to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs pursuant to Georgia annexation laws. Section 4. All laws and parts of law in conflict herewith are specifically repealed. Section 5. It is hereby declared to be the intention of the City Council that the sections, paragraphs, sentences, clauses, and phrases of this enactment are severable, and if any phrase, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section hereof shall be declared unconstitutional by the valid judgment or decree of any court of competent jurisdiction, such unconstitutionality shall not affect any of the remaining phrases, clauses, sentences, paragraphs, and sections of this enactment, since the same would have been enacted by the City Council without the incorporation herein of any such unconstitutional phrase, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section. Adopted and approved by the City Council of the City of Temple at a public hearing and regularly scheduled meeting on this blank date, blank 2016. Council members blank voting aye and blank voting no, and no signature lines for the mayor and the secretary.
Okay, that concludes our formal meeting. Your motion with adjourn. Got a motion, Mr. Simmons, second, Mr. Bright, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Sir, thank y'all for coming.
I made it through. Thank you. Getting rid of it.
Good to see you.
Richard, very good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.